Good morning, my dear students. Good morning, one and all. Welcome to the fourth session of the topic. The topic name is Configurable Indexes, Relationships and Activities, Measures and Segmentation. First, we need to discuss about the filtering and searching indexes. A customer profile in Customer Insights gives you a unified view of all your customers. You can view customer profile details on the customer's page, as mentioned in the previous lecture. Your customer profile needs to be indexed before you can access the customer page for the first time. So just to define the indexes provide deeper functionality and make locating information for specific customer or group of customers easier. On the customer's page, click search and filter to configure searching and filtering. Defining searchable attributes will prompt you to define index fields, and we recommend you to pick all the attributes customers can search and filter by on the customer page when selecting indexed fields. So the only attributes available are in the customer profile entity. Select the add button to add indexed fields. It's okay to add up to 20 index attributes. The indexed customer fields list page displays indexed fields once they have been defined here. This is a sample screenshot where I have pasted here. You can just check it out. And additional index fields can be added through the add button. And what about the search and filter index? We can getting from the name, country, customize, customer ID, email, first name and full name. This is a sample image. So below is the list of index customer fields we need to discuss. According to the name, I represent the attribute name as it appears in the customer profile. You can specify whether the data type is a string, a number or a date. The attribute can be searched using the search field on the customer page if it's included in search. On the customer's page, you can add a filter to control how this attribute can be filtered. The delete icon, it means into, lets you remove attributes that you don't want to be indexed here. So just to filter an attributes, icons and options, organizations might want to add more filters to refine the information displayed. So select the add button, the filter button for the attribute you want to apply the filter to, such as different age groups. A filter lets you choose how many results will be displayed and in what order. The attributes data type might give you some more options. String type attributes, it means to specify how many results you want on the filter panel and the order in which they will appear. Set the intervals and the order policy for the numerical type attributes on the filter panel. According to the date type attributes means you can specify what intervals will be included on the filter panel and how they will be ordered here. Next, we need to talk about the filter your customers. Customer profile entity fields can be filtered by a menu. By using the search and the filter index page, your admin will have to define which fields are filterable. On the customer's page, click the filter icon. After you have defined the filters, you can filter your customers by checking the boxes next to the available attributes. So just check it out, the filtering is similar to searching mode, but you can only filter by attributes defined by the administrator on the search and the filter index page. The next one is we need to talk about the established relationships and activities. A 360-degree view of the customers means understanding what a customer does across all the company's data sources. So what are the things we need to do? In customer insights, they are called activities. You can consolidate these customer activities from your various data sources and associated them with the customer unified profile using customer insights. On the customer profile screen, these activities show up in the timeline. There are two parts to customer insights activities. The number one is this page lets you define activities and view the ones you have already created here. And according to the timeline grid, the consolidate activity list for one customer. So in addition to showing up on the customer profile dashboard, the timeline view can also be embedded in model driven apps like Dynamics 365 Sales or Customer Service or in Power BI dashboards. You can just check it out and connect it. And next we need to talk about the make a list of activities. So entities that are ingested to customer insights typically contain either customer profile or transactional data. A unified customer profile is typically built using entities that contain profile data because the data from transactions is usually associated with customers. In customer insights, activities include things like purchases, website visits, or cases opened by customers. Depending on the data sources, you might be able to work with multiple transactions or activity entities. And entities that are used as activities have to have at least one data field like purchase date, review date, or open date. On the customer's timeline grid, activities are displayed chronologically after they are defined. There will be a total for each type of activity grouped together. The activities or area under the data heading is where you create activities. By clicking add activity at the top, you can create an activity. You can only create activities for entities with the data field. The add activity control is disabled if no entities with the data fields are found here. The following fields need to be filled in the define an activity we need to discuss. And the name of activity, it means the name that will be used to identify it. Select an entity that includes activity data. And according to the primary key, identifies each record uniquely. Duplicate, null, or missing value shouldn't be allowed in this field. And a relationship must be established between the transactional entity and the customer entity. The activity should be associated with for the activity to be connected to its corresponding customers. So to connect your customer and activity data to the corresponding customer, you will need to configure the details in the setup a relationship section. So the foreign key from activity entity, it means identify the field from the activity entity that will be used in the relationship. And according to entity name means the specifies your activity entity's relationship with your entity. According to the relationship name, specifies what the relationship is called. There can only be letters or numbers in the same. So once you have defined any relationship needed for the item, you can map your activity data to the fields. Here's what you will need to define. Your event activities start time is in this field. Your activity start time is stored in the timestamp field that contains more details about the activity. It's an optional mode. The icon of the activity is optional in this field. A web address, it's optional. This is where you put your website address here. So set the option to yes if you want your activity to appear in the timeline on your customer profile. You will still be able to export the activity data via the unified activity entity to other platforms, because you have to define what data type of activity you are creating before you can create it. The activity types can be created from scratch or you can choose from a list of predefined ones. From the activities page, you can see your activities. By selecting an activity, you will be able to edit or remove it. The customer profile screen won't show the activities until they have been updated. By clicking run, all activities will be refreshed and the updated activity information for each customer will appear on their timeline. So what about the relationship we need to discuss? Relationships help you connect entities and make graphs. When two entities share a common identifier, they can reference each other. Segments and measures can be defined based on multiple data sources when you have connected entities. So relationships fall into two categories, system relationships and custom relationships. And system relationship means these types are created automatically by the system and can't be edited here. And according to the custom relationship means during configurations, users can create these types and edit them. So what about the segmentation process we need to discuss here? By segmenting your customers, you can group them by demographic, transactional, or behavioral factors. Your business goals can be achieved by targeting promotional campaigns, sales activities, and customer support. It's easy to define complex filters around customer profiles and their related entities. You can export and act on the customer entity records after each segment gets processed. So basically there are two types of segments we need to discuss. In the process of creating or updating on any of its filters, a static segment is processed only once. You can use these segments if your properties don't change over time or when you only use them once. An expo event customer is an example of a use case. And the segment is processed based on a recurring schedule because the customer's attributes change over time. So these segments are especially useful. And the customers who bought products worth more than $500 in the last 3 months, a dynamic segment refreshes every 12 hours. So your saved segments can be viewed and acted upon from the segments page. On the left, you will see the specified dynamic segments. To the right are static segments. Because the segments are represented by tiles that include their name, description, and the last update date and the historical trend, if any. So what are the process we need to focus? You will need to define these parameters when you create a new segment. Number one is a type. It means required because it specifies whether it's a dynamic segment or a static segment. According to the segment name required, this is what shows up on the segment page for the segment. You can only use letters and numbers and names. You can use the spaces or special characters here. You can give the segment a display name. It's optional, so it's easier to read throughout the app. Letters, numbers, spaces, and special characters are allowed in the display name. This is a sample screenshot where I have pasted here like a new segment. This is the type of dynamic and static. According to the dynamic, create a group of customers that updates every 12 hours. According to the static, create a group of customers that doesn't change, and name and display name and description. Then click on next and give the confirmation process through the new segment mode. Okay, my dear students, I hope you have enjoyed the fourth session of the topic configurable indexes, relationships and activities, measures and segmenters. Thank you once again. Thank you all.